Let's just get right into it and talk about how to find any bird that you want. Well, almost any bird that you want, and I'll explain why it's almost any bird later. For today's video, we'll be focusing on the site eBird that has tons of awesome features and data about birds. If you love birds and birding but don't have an eBird account yet, I made a video on how to set up an eBird account and it's totally worth it. I'll leave a link to that video tutorial in the description below and you can take a look if you're interested. Let's get logged on to eBird and I'll start showing you how to do this. Now that I'm logged on to the Badgerland birding eBird account, we're going to go through our first thing that we can use to find almost any bird that we want, and that's going to be the species search feature. So we're going to go to Explore, we're going to go to Species Map, and we're going to pick a bird that we're going to look up. I'm going to go with black-billed magpie because they're pretty rare in the area that I live in. Alright, so if we click on black-billed magpie, we should see all of these points popping up soon. It is working on it, and there we go. So we can see that most of the black-billed magpie reports are going to be in the western part of the US and Canada, but we do have a few that are sprinkled into Wisconsin. And you can filter this really any way that you want to for the most part. If you want to look at a specific month, or if you want to look at a specific year, you can do that, but I'm just going to go current year so we can see if there are any that are around right now. So if we look, a lot of those points that were in Wisconsin have disappeared, so those were historical past records, but there are some up here in the northwestern part of the state. So we can look and see that there were reports from this area from the Superior landfill of all places. The last one looking like it was on the 21st of September. So if this was still in September, this would be incredibly useful to see where that bird was being seen, when it was being seen, and we can go right to reports from that time. So this is one of the best things, in my opinion, to see where birds are if you want to go look for them. So let's do another one that's going to be fun. Let's take a look at snowy owl. We look at snowy owls, which at the time of filming are coming into the state right now. We are at current year, and let's filter this to November only. So we'll just go November to November of 2025. So this will show the reports that have been in the state so far this year, because we could have gotten past winter's reports as well. But if we look here, we got one in Fond du Lac on the 15th. We got one Lake Butimore, we got Manitowoc, so there are a lot of reports coming in that I wouldn't have known if I didn't search for the snowy owl right here. So this is a great tool. This will help you find, like I said, almost any bird that you want. There's going to be a caveat to this, and that's going to be that some birds do not show up because they're sensitive species and have been suppressed by eBird. So a good example is if we look for gyrfalcon. If we go gyrfalcon and we zoom into where a report is, we'll see that we simply cannot tell exactly where that report is. We know that one was seen somewhere in this area, but this is all that we're going to get. So they're hidden enough that you can't pinpoint the location. And this is because there's some species that are sensitive to harassment by humans or people trying to take photos or see them day after day. And because with some birds, falconers will actually want to take them out of the wild. So eBird tries to suppress these reports and make sure that people don't actually have access to that information. Let's try to search another species that this is similar for, and that's boreal owl. Last year was a huge boreal owl eruption year, and in Minnesota for a while the reports of them were visible, but then that quickly got changed when so many people were coming up to the Saxon Bog in the North Shore and trying to look for them. So now you see that they were in the state, but when you zoom in too far they just vanish. So you can get to a degree of searching the area that they're in, but you won't know the specific point, and that specific point is often very useful. So you can find almost any bird that you want using this feature, but not any bird. This is really useful for seeing other people's reports, pinpointing locations if you have a specific bird in mind. We can do another bird. Let's say we went out west. I spent a lot of time looking for a red-naped sapsucker this past year in Colorado. If we look at red-naped sapsucker and then we go to Colorado, we can see how many reports there are in different areas, and we can kind of loosely try to pick where we want to be here. Let's say that I wanted to go this December or something. So let's say current year, November to December. This will show everything that's been seen so far in November. And then we can zoom in and see that there's not a lot going on the red-naped sapsucker front right now because they haven't migrated into the state yet. We can see there was one report somewhere, but not a whole lot. So this would kind of tell me if I wanted to see this species, Colorado this time of year would probably not be the right time to see them. Let's go to another feature that I really enjoy, and that's actually the bar charts. The bar charts are really cool because they can give you an idea of what's going to be in a particular area, particular part of the country, particular state at any given time. So let's stick with Colorado. We'll stick with that red-naped sapsucker. I'm going to switch the region from just United States general to Colorado, entire region, and now we will search. This kicks out a really nice report based on everything that was cited in the state. Look at this. It shows you the frequency of sightings for different species in the state. So if I search for sapsucker, then we go to red-naped, we can see that the time of year that they're most likely going to be there is going to be basically April through the first couple weeks of October. And what's nice about this too is it does break it down into weeks. So you see that each one of these months has 4 weeks here, so you can really drill down on what's going on with that species. Another thing that's kind of cool about it is, let's say that we wanted to just go November. So we'll see what species are around in November and what species have been there for the past couple of years instead of since the 90s. Now this is only populating with birds that would be expected to be there or have been there in the last 2 years in November. So if it wasn't there the last 2 years in November, it would not show up on this list. And you can see that some have greater frequencies and lesser frequencies. I use this feature a lot when I go to a new place just to know what to look for. I just will scan this, see if there's any birds that really interest me, see when they're most likely to be there, and it's really helpful for trip planning in my opinion if you're okay with sifting through data. There's one other thing that I want to go over which is really helpful, and to do that we're going to go into Explore again, and we're going to set some alerts. I've run into a lot of people that don't know that this is a feature, or they don't know you can set the frequency of these, but it's really useful. So when you go to alerts, you can see I already have one saved here, the rare bird alerts for Wisconsin, but let's add a new one. So let's go with a needs alert. Needs alerts you can set for life birds or year birds. Let's go for year birds for our account for Colorado again. So if we go with Colorado in the United States, we can view it or we can subscribe to it. If we subscribe to it, it's going to give us emails, and it's going to give us emails depending on the frequency that we're wanting to set it to. So let's do a subscribe for it. So now we have our Colorado US needs. Now let's change it. So we can make it daily, or we can make it hourly. So if we want an email every hour with the needs alert of the birds that we need for Colorado, we can do that. Otherwise, I'll send one daily. Now here's a cool thing about it too, is that we don't need to just wait for that email to come in. We can just actively view it whenever we want. So if we look at Needs Colorado and we open it up, we can simply see the report without having to wait for it to email us. I've run into people that are like, oh, I didn't see that because I didn't get an email about the report yet. You don't need to wait for the email. You can just go see it whenever you want. And if you are subscribed to it, it's easy for you to pull up there. So that's a great feature. You can see I have a Rare Birds Wisconsin. It'll show me all the rare birds that are in Wisconsin. This can be a little deceiving sometimes because birds that may not be rare for the state at one time of year will show as rare because of the time of year. So let's just take a look down this list real quick. Trumpeter swans, sometimes they are not rare at all. This time of the year, the filters are showing that they are rare. A lot of information here that you can go through, but this is really convenient if you're out birding. You need to look and see if anybody's found anything yet. This is super helpful. There are some other features too on eBird that are helpful, and I could get into those another day as well. So if there's anything you want me to look at and share how to use it, let me know in the comments below. But otherwise, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Badgerland Birding.